So let's talk about creating connection in your body. Hello, if you are new here, my name is Ebony. I'm a human design reader, expert, and coach. And on this channel, we learn about human design and gene keys in order to reclaim our power, prioritize our pleasure, and create the freedom-filled lives that we desire. With this series, I really want to help you, number one, reconnect with your body. Number two, let go of your fears and start to trust yourself and trust your instincts, and help you to embody your design on a physical level. So this is the second video in this series. If you missed the first one, I highly recommend you go back and check it out because there's important information in there that you're probably going to want to know. But in this video, we're going to talk about creating connection within your body. I want to say that when people talk about getting into the body, reconnecting to the body, listen to the intuition, authority, all those things, this is kind of where they start. Like I said, they really skip out on that first video, which I think is very important. This is where the inner work starts, right? And this is where a lot of people want to jump in, feet first, dive head first into the deep end and start doing. And this is when it can get a little bit overwhelming, because if you have not built presence, like I mentioned in the first video, you may get very overwhelmed with what you see and feel in your body when you come in on the second step, if you haven't built that presence beforehand. So when I say create connection in your body, what exactly do I mean? It means you're starting to build. You're starting to build structures. You're starting to build new neural pathways, and you're starting to build in a system that can start to, I don't want to say bypass, but that allows you to pivot, right? Because the fact is, a lot of our destructive patterns, a lot of our destructive behaviors are in place because there was a wounded part of us that needed protecting. So these destructive patterns, these destructive behaviors were put in place to protect this vulnerable part of us. So now that we've built presence in the body and we're starting to create this connection, the new habits, the new tools that we're going to introduce are going to take these destructive patterns and pivot them away, right? That vulnerable part is still there. It still has a need that needs to be met, and it still needs protection to a certain extent. But instead of jumping straight to the destructive pattern, we want to pivot to a new direction. We want to pivot to internally resourcing, to internally self-soothing, to giving our wound, that rupture, that inner child, if you will, the emotional need that it needs, without going into whatever the destructive pattern was there before. That's what I mean when I say create a connection. Creating connection. You are building up these new systems and these new strategies that kind of bring you out of the destructive pattern, bring you out of the destructive behavior and into something that is more healthy and more sustainable. Now, the reason why you were able to do this in the second step is because you built the presence in the first. When you were building that presence, right, when you were creating these new relationships, you started to notice what, number one, those wounded parts are. You started to feel like, there's something there. There's a little bit of tension there. There's a little bit of constriction there. There's something in there is hurt. You started to notice the protectors, which were the destructive patterns and behaviors. Like, oh, wait, when I get triggered in this way, I lash out like this. Interesting. Right? And then you also start to become aware of what are the needs that have not been met. Right? Why was that destructive behavior put in place to begin with? Those are the three things that you start to become aware of in that first step, which is why that first step is so important. So in the second step, in the creating connection step, now we're starting to build new structures, new strategies, new behaviors that can keep us from moving into that unconscious destructive place. Now, there are a lot of different ways that you can do this, and there are a lot of tools and strategies that I have that specifically utilize human design and gene keys, and we're going to get into all of that in the next few videos. But I want this to be an overview of the entire process and how everything fits together before we get into the actual, tools and practices and things like that. So what I want you to understand for this video, for this second part of the process, is that, again, you need to be gentle, you need to be caring, and you need to be compassionate. You really want to come at this from a space of pure, unconditional, universal love. Because if you do not, look, these wounds, these ruptures, these destructive patterns, that's hilarious, destructive behaviors and patterns are more established than you as the evolved adult are, right? If you go into victim mentality to get love from the people around you, you have been doing that for years and years and years and years and years. Which means if you come at this with the energy of, I need to fix this, there's something wrong with you and I need to fix it, that very vulnerable part of you is not going to reveal itself to its fullest extent so that you can start to heal and create new patterns, because it feels like you're judging it, which you are, right? But when you come from a space of pure love, from unconditional love, the wounded parts, the ruptures, the inner children will bit by bit start to open themselves up to you, will start to reveal more of themselves to you, which will then allow you more access to heal, to understand, and be aware, so that you can start to create new structures and strategies that will keep you from falling into those unconscious destructive patterns. But you will only get that insight, you will only get that access if you are able to come from a space of pure, unconditional love and caring and compassion, right? Because nothing works faster than a wounded inner child who feels like they're being judged. It's astounding how quick those walls can go up. Okay, so second step, after you build presence, create connection. Start to become aware, right? Start to build those new structures and those new strategies based on the needs that are not being met and the destructive pattern that has been used for however long to get that need met in an unhealthy way. So again, if you are interested in going deeper into this work with me specifically, I highly recommend that you click the link in my description box, where you can sign up for a free clarity call with me, where we're going to get into, what are your goals, what's keeping you stuck, and figure out how we can adjust that so you can start moving forward and achieving the things you desire. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.